What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Action Network podcast presented by DraftKings. I'm your host, Chris Raybon. This is our NFL Week 8 betting preview. We're going to talk sides, totals, props, moneyline dogs, touchdowns. And as always, we will build our Sunday six-pack of Against the Spread bets with the help of my co-host, the Prime Minister of Degenerate Nation, Stuckey. Stuck, what's going on?
What's going on, brother? I don't. What is this week? What week? 8.
8, yeah.
Yeah, I had a rough week 7. First real rough one of the year. But on the podcast, it wasn't bad. I think I went 1-2 on my picks, hit my total, and hit my money line dog. But I added a bunch of dogs on some injury news, like the Titans. I added because their D line was back, and of course that backfired. Jeffrey Simmons going out was just a disaster for that defense. But bunch of the injury stuff. Look, we do this on Wednesday, and I bet these on Wednesday. Sometimes the injury stuff's going to work your way. Sometimes it's not. In my case last week, it really didn't. But a bunch of bad fourth down turnover variants, but that happens in a week. I mean, like the Eagles were very healthy. Thought that they weren't going to be. Um, the Chargers offensive line was a mess. That was just a bad call there. But the Vikings maybe the angriest. I mean, they should have covered. They had like a net 13% success rate. Net plus 13% success rate. They were in the red zone 6 times at 1 touchdown. They had a drop for the cover. A holding call took away the cover. The Eagles had a bunch of long bombs. It's basically all they did. Now Hurts played well, but on a down-to-down basis, the Vikings dominated that game, but just couldn't punch it in. And then they threw a pick six as well. So, but that's what you're going to get with Carson Wentz sometimes. So, but as I always say, who cares? We're on to this week where, holy moly, I mean, there's the potential where, as of this moment, like 33%, a third of the league's original starting quarterbacks are currently out or in doubt. It's wild. The injuries are ridiculous.
6 teams on bye too, so we're really down to like half of the week's quarterbacks potentially for this week. But yeah, a lot of injury news too. So this might be one of those weird shows where it either goes that way or it doesn't. But let's get into it. Sunday six pack, week 8. You're up 24-17, 2 points for our first two picks, a third, 1 point for our third pick, another point for our total, which we'll give out in the next segment, and another point if you sweep. And Stuck, you're up first for week 8. Where
I,
are you going?
for my first pick of the week 8 Sunday six pack, I'm going with the Houston Texans. We'll call it money line minus 115 out there at DraftKings against if you have to take a 1.5, that's fine too, against the San Francisco 49ers. The Texans looked awful on Monday night. They may not have Nico Collins, which isn't ideal, but I think this is a great spot for Houston. Season pretty close to on the line against the 5-2 49ers. And this is just a matchup where, look, I know the 49ers defense looked great on Monday. They had like your all-out max effort. You know, Kittle came to the locker room and everyone just played to their maximum effort. And Penix was just off as he has been, as we've seen on the road
Yeah.
countless times going back to Carolina. It's troubling, and he missed a lot of wide open throws. But this 49ers defense is horrendous. I mean, they're a bottom 3 unit on paper in the league, and they suffered even more injuries on Sunday night. They lost Huff, Renardo Green, their starting corner. Looks like they'll be without him. This is a defense that cannot generate pressure. Without Bosa, they're the lowest in the league by far. They don't have Fred Warner anymore. Like, what does this defense have going for it? But the most important thing is they're not able to generate any pressure. They're not blitzing, and that's what's been killing Stroud. If you look at the games against teams that haven't been able to get pressure, he's looked fine. And I think that he'll be able to move the ball here against this 49ers shell unit on defense. And this is a Texans defense that still is among the 3 best in the league, and they're pretty much at full strength. The 49ers haven't they've been have had one of the worst rushing offenses in the league to date, and the Texans have the best schedule adjusted pass defense in the league. They're a bit vulnerable to explosives at times, but that's not the 49ers game. It looks like it's going to be Mac Jones again. 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions over his past 4 starts, and he's faced a laughably easy schedule of opposing defenses. And look, the 49ers give credit to Shanahan for what he's done with this team and all the injuries to get them to 5-2, but they're 4-1 in one possession games. A Cardinals drop in San Francisco, wide open drop. The Cardinals win that game. The Rams, that fourth down decision, the Rams arguably should have won that game. The Seahawks was a coin flip game. I mean, they've been pretty fortunate. This is a team that easily could be, 2-5, 3-4. And this will be the hardest defense, the most difficult defense that Mac Jones is facing by far. So I think the Texans, on the backs of their defense, get it done, and Stroud can do enough, even if Collins and Christian Kirk don't play. Now, there's a chance Collins plays, right? I would say he's
20,
more likely
25,
to not to
30.
play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like 75% to not,
Yeah.
because it's a same week concussion and it was on a Monday. But there's a chance that he plays. There's a chance that Kirk plays. But regardless, the 49ers' inability to get pressure, I think Stroud will be able to do enough. This is not the Seahawks front and the Seahawks defense. This is not the Rams front. He'll have time to operate in the pocket, and I think he'll do enough. And I think that if you look at the difference here, the 49ers defense is awful. The Texans offense, especially if Collins isn't played, is awful. But I think that they'll still have opportunities to move the ball, and the difference will be the Texans defense, which will be the best unit on the field. So give me Houston a good spot, good desperation spot at home to get it done.
Yeah, it's definitely dicier without Nico, but I do think that Houston has kind of underperformed scoring wise, and I think San Francisco's defense hasn't got lit up as much as it could have, like you said, and now it's even more injured. So don't mind it, but would love if Nico came back. That would be huge. They don't need
Yeah.
Kirk as much because Noel is playing well.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
basically if Nico doesn't play and Kirk doesn't play, I bet on Iowa State on Saturday in college football. So I'm basically would be betting on Iowa State again on Sunday with three three young Iowa State receivers out there. But there's the like I even think that the Texans will be like might even be able to run the ball just a little bit because they usually can't. But this 49ers defense is in such rough shape that I think Houston will be able to move the ball. So where are you going for your first pick?
with my first pick, the second overall of the Week 8 Sunday 6-pack, I'm going with the New Orleans Saints plus 4.5 at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this just comes down to a couple of things. Number one, the Saints have, they're bad, but they've been unlucky as well. One of the unluckiest teams in our luck rankings. This is actually a B-rated luck game. So the the back tested cover probability is up around 58% for this one. But really, it's just a bad spot for the Bucs. They're coming off a very physical game against the Lions. Short week, going on the road to New Orleans. You're going to be without Godwin. You're going to be without Evans. You're still going to be without Bucky Irving. So I think, essentially 3 of your top 4 skill players on offense. Ibuka, who knows if he's 100%. He was inefficient with the 11 targets, just 58 yards on Monday night. So we'll see about that. But also, I think it's a good matchup for the Saints. The Bucs, they always are going to just blitz. Like, that's what they do defensively. But Spencer Rattler has played surprisingly well against the blitz. He ranks number 2 in PFF grade against the blitz, and he's pretty top 10 in some other metrics as well. And I just think that this Bucs team, I mean, that's really their identity. So I don't expect them to just kind of lay off here, but the matchup kind of favors the Saints, and you still have Alvin Kamara, Olave, Shaheed. So you have enough firepower to get it done. And when you look at this Saints team, they've underscored what they should be scoring. Rattler, I mean, he was playing better. And then last week he had like 2 months worth of turnover-worthy plays. So hopefully he got him out of his system. But the Saints team, I think, is underrated here in this spot. And this Bucs team is just starting to get a little bit overrated. They are like without Evans, Godwin, and Bucky. I mean, it's going to be really tough. We saw Baker, and he's still getting it done. Throwing touchdowns to like Tez Johnson and guys like that. But these guys are going to be, at some point, like people forget. The Bucs went on a 4-game losing streak when Evans and Godwin went down last year. It wasn't just like, okay, Baker's making any receiver look good. They're just a very wide receiver centric team in general. So they're going to throw lots of receivers. But if you look at a lot of the defensive metrics, even the Saints have been better than the Bucks in most areas, except run defense. Obviously, the Bucks are great, but the Saints aren't really a running team to begin with. So I'm not too worried about that. I think Kamara, being there, Miller being on IR, they're just going to do a lot of. They're going to throw the ball to Kamara a lot, and they have Taysom to kind of mix in. Still hasn't really blown up yet. So I like the Saints in this spot. I thought they should have had a better chance last week, but they didn't play as well as I thought they would. But they're still playing better than the spread is giving them credit for. So give me Saints at home plus 4.5.
Yeah, I will probably be honest with you. A couple things that I do like that the Saints with their defensive scheme, they really look to limit explosive plays, and that's basically what the Bucks offense has to
Yeah.
be now without Irving and without, and then obviously their wide receiver room and their offensive line is still compromised. And Baker Mayfield, I mean, he was playing at a top 2 or 3 level, and they were winning games by like 1 or 2 in the final minute. He kind of came back down to earth on Monday night. And by the way, this is like second straight road game after a Monday night. I, I mean, he was bad on Monday, and he was playing against a bunch of practice squad defensive backs, guys who were getting their first starts, and he was missing wide open guys. So if Baker's going to have a little bit of a dip, this is not a very good team with all of the injuries. The defense isn't great. I do think that the Saints are the right side here. I think this should be a close game. For my second pick and the third overall of the Week 8 Sunday six pack, I'm going with the New York Football Jets plus 6.5 at the Cincinnati Bengals. I ended up joining you small last week. It
Ugh,
was ugly,
miserable. No joy.
a miserable betting experience. No, yeah, just no
No
joy.
joy.
I can't get any late game joy. The Vikings, I thought for sure the Vikings were bringing late game. Nope, they didn't. Um, I don't. What is this line? I mean, the Bengals 6.5 point favorites. I can't get here in any world. Even if Field starts, I can't get close to this line. I mean, are we not remembering that the Bengals were 10.5 point home dogs to the Lions a couple weeks ago, and they didn't even cover? Plus 14 recently. This is one of the worst defenses in the NFL. It doesn't look like Hendrickson's going to go. This is one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL, and it's still 50-year-old Joe Flacco. Yeah, he had an out-of-body experience against the Steelers. I get that they're on extra rest here, and the Jets are miserable and winless, but this is a crazy line. Like, even if it's Fields, they could still like hand it. Anyone can move the ball on the Bengals defense. So the Jets will be able to like anyone can move it. But I think it's going to be Ty God. And Ty God, by the way, he's 34, 21, and 4 against the spread, including a cover for us earlier this year. They were catching 7 at Tampa. Now they're catching a similar number at Cincinnati. He's 62% against the spread in his career. 22, 12, and 3 against the spread as a dog. 65%, 9, 3, and 1 when catching 6 plus. He's the ninth most profitable quarterback of all time against the spread. The 8 above him, if you're curious, Brady Breeze, Goff Rogers, Peyton Manning, Teddy Bridgewater, Alex Smith, and Andrew Luck. But look, yeah, I mean basically that is my summary of this play. I can't get close to this number. Like I think this should be like 4. And I know Garrett Wilson is banged up and he might not go. Although like it sounded like Glenn was optimistic. I was thinking that there's a bye next week, so he's not going to play. But I mean, who cares if you're the Jets, I guess, because it's like you're already owned, so you're not going anywhere. So he might play. That would be massive. And they're saying that Tyler Taylor is day to day, but I think he's fine with his knee. I think he's going to get the start, and I do think he is an upgrade over Fields. The Bengals also don't blitz; they don't get pressure, and that's what's killed both Jet quarterbacks. So I think they'll be fine to move the ball here. I mean, mainly just handing it off, but they'll be open receivers no matter who's out there. This is a horrendous defense. And look, the Jets defense, it's top 7 in rush and pass success rate. They do give up some explosives. But this Bengals team, last week notwithstanding, they can't run the ball. I know they have great receivers, but Flacco will give you the ball. Flacco will turn the ball over on most weeks. And if there's one team that's due for some turnovers, it's the Jets. They have a -9 turnover differential. That's worse in the league. They've forced 1 turnover all year. and they are overdue. That's why there's such a difference between like their EPA per play. Part of that's explosives, but they just haven't. They've been unlucky, and turnovers are a lot of luck. So, yeah, I don't think that this is the worst matchup. I know that Sauce Gardner is also in concussion protocol, so his status is up in the air, which is big against this receiving core. But Carter is back, so that's big. You have him in the slot. You have Brownlee, and you have I hate him, but who's the ex-Raven on the outside?
Wiggins is it?
Stevens.
Steven, there you go.
And then Stiggers, it looks like is going to go. So I think you have enough guys. You just play deeper here, and you should be able to get some pressure. And Flacco, I think, is going to give you the ball. Tyrod generally does not. So this could be a game where, and they're so overdue for it, that the Jets win the turnover battle. But bottom line, this line's just way too high. I mean, you're asking this Bengals team with no defense, no offensive line, no running game, and a 40-year-old quarterback who turns it over to win by 7 or more. Got to take the Jets, sadly.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to play the Jets again until they cover at this point, and I hate it. I hate it. I'm sure everyone on this podcast hates it, but before I move
They have a
on,
couple covers for us this year. They covered against
yeah, they
the
do.
Bucks. They covered it against the Broncos.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot.
they
I
do
kind of
better
blocked
in
that
this
game out.
role. Like keep it close, don't win. When you need them to win,
Yeah.
that's when it gets sketchy.
Yeah, no. So the Gardner absence does give me pause. Like that. That was the one that probably I said, okay, like that. Let me just kind of lay off. But yeah, this is probably. I mean, if Gardner's out, this probably gets to 7 at some point, which would be just utterly insane. So
Yeah,
we'll
I
see what
haven't put this in
happens.
the app yet because I'm waiting, but it wouldn't matter for the contest at 7. So, but yeah, I'm gonna wait to see. I'm waiting to see where this goes. But if it's at 6.5, I would play it at 6.5. But I'm gonna wait to see if it goes to 7.
All right, before we move on, there is a quick and easy way for you to tail us. First, sign up for Action Pro. You'll get instant notifications when any Action Network expert tracks a bet, whether that's myself, Stuckey, Brandon Anderson. You want to get those right away. Plus, you can access our pro projections powered by Sean Kerner and our predictive analytics team and a ton of other benefits as well. Just go to Action Network .com/pro and get $20 off the annual price with the promo code POD20. That's POD20. So don't miss out on the best bets at the best prices. Visit actionnetwork.com/pro and use promo code POD20 for $20 off a year of Action Pro. The rest of our Sunday six pack is coming up, but first I'll throw it to myself for a quick word from our sponsor. The Action Network podcast has teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook, where new customers can bet $5 and get $300 back in bonus bets if your bet wins, and 3 months of NBA League Pass. To get started, use promo code Action Network when signing up with DraftKings. Again, use code Action Network when signing up and bet $5 to get $300 back in bonus bets if your bet wins, plus 3 months of NBA League Pass. The crown is yours. For my second pick, the 4th overall of the Week 8 Sunday six pack, I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys plus 3.5 at the Denver Broncos. Curious to hear your thoughts on this, Stuck. Was a play I didn't know if I was going to be on. Really, like I didn't circle it to kind of start the week, but the more I looked into it, the more I liked it. And that's just because of the matchup with the schemes for each team. Denver, they play man coverage at the highest rate in the league. Dak Prescott, 7.9 yards per dropback versus man, 5.6 versus zone. And then, Denver playing the third most single high safety, about 61% of the time, and the fewest, two high shell around 32% of the time. And Dak is killing single high, 7.4 yards per dropback. He's a 1.4 less against two high. And then on the other side, it's the opposite. It's like Dallas, they did play more man coverage last week and probably caught Washington a little off guard, but for the year, zone coverage has been kind of their calling card. They playing zone at the second highest rate over the course of the year. The man coverage at the second lowest rate. And Bo Nix, 4.9 yards of drop back versus zone, 6.2 versus man. And this Denver offense, when teams play zones against them, it's just very erratic. And Dallas is getting a little healthier on defense. Dallas, even with the strength of schedule adjustments in DVOA, ranks above Denver now. Dallas is ninth, Denver's 14th, and Dallas's offense has been so good. They have enough receivers that you can avoid Surtain in a number of different ways. Lamb can move inside. You have Turpin to do that. Pickens on Riley Moss. So there's a lot of different matchups that I just like for Dallas. And offense tends to be more sticky than defense, and I just don't see the consistency in this Broncos offense. Now, granted, they've pretty much played in one score games, have the Broncos, but so they've only lost, their two losses are very close losses. So they technically could be 7-0, but they've also won 4 in a row, and the last 3 have been by 7 points combined. So a Dallas team that could put up a big number here, I think is a live dog, at least, getting the hook as well. So give me Dallas plus 3.5 in Denver.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I mean, like you're asking Bo Nix to win by margin. That's, I mean, look, they should have lost to the Giants.
Yeah.
Uh, they were, if the Giants secondary doesn't get hurt, and they had to bring in Banks. Banks is everything's open.
Kicker. Why can't the Giants have a good talk about
Yeah,
no
miss
joy?
2 extra
Talk about
points.
no joy.
Go into prevent, lose all your D-backs, let Bo Nix score 33 on you in the fourth quarter.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, just stunning. So I mean, they were scoreless through 3 quarters.
Yeah, this Broncos offense it looked broken for the last like 2.5 weeks
They
into
couldn't
that
score
fourth
against the
quarter.
Jets.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, my main concern is like the Cowboys look like a different team on the road. Like they got blown out at Chicago. I get it that CeeDee Lamb got hurt. They lost at Carolina.
They did put up
Um,
37 on the Jets, then Broncos put up 13.
yeah, I mean, but the Cowboys offense is very good.
Yeah, and now they have
And
Pickens and Lamb.
yeah, with Pickens and Lamb, like kind of like Surtain could only do so much. And there's so much attention on those guys that like Ferguson underneath. Like they're a very difficult offense to prepare for. And Williams is running really well.
Devontae revenge game, baby.
Yeah. So and then all like yeah, the Broncos just aren't a team that's going to build enormous margin. And then with this Cowboys offense and Dak, like even if you need it, if you're down like 10 late, backdoor potential is huge here. You also have Aubrey and their special teams and altitude. That's scary. I mean, what's he going to hit from 72 here? So yeah, I think Dallas is the side if you can get the hook.
Real quick before we move on, Brian Schottenheimer, Coach of the Year. What do you think? If
Should
Dallas
be
keeps doing this,
should be Clayton Adams. But yeah, I think he'd be behind. I mean, they'd have to get to the playoffs.
they might.
That's what I'm saying. They'd have to get to the playoffs. If not, it's probably gonna be Shanahan. Like, I mean, Steichen's gonna be up there. It's gonna be hard for him to like
Yeah, that's
what
true.
Steichen's doing
Steichen.
with Daniel Jones, and then what Shanahan's doing with all these injuries and like Mac Jones, and so he has an uphill climb because there's a bunch of other coaches who are way exceeding. The 49ers not so much, but given all their injuries, but the Colts are way exceeding their preseason expectations with Daniel Jones. Like the Cowboys have Dak Prescott, so it's like it's going to be much more. And then you have Vrabel too. So
Yeah, it is tough.
it's a tough
It,
market this year.
it's interesting though, because I just, apparently, I was reading the story that he got more involved with the defense last week, and they did kind of catch Washington a little bit off guard. So I'm like, if he keeps getting these kind of, because the Cowboys get so much coverage, right? Like if the Eagles should have like one win on the year. So if the Cowboys can catch the Eagles for the division, I think he's definitely in the running. I'm thinking about placing a little bet on that.
For
But all
sure.
right, where you going for your next one?
All right, for my third pick and the fifth overall of the Week 8 Sunday six pack, I am going with the Baltimore Ravens minus 6.5 at home against the Chicago Bears. This would have been my number one pick if I was 100% confident that Lamar is going to start and he was going to be fully healthy. He practiced today. I think he is going to start, but it's not guaranteed, right? He was third. He was third in the rep line today, but he was out there. I think he's going to play. I've been told the expectation is that he is going to play, but we'll see. It's not a given. If he does play, I think this is a Ravens home smash spot, a game where they win by like 28. So if you see him playing, you know that he's playing and he looks okay. Like I think you can look at some alts here because number one, the Ravens are gonna have their full offense if Lamar plays. Their full offense is back. So you got Ricard, you got your tight ends. They can actually run the offense. Their running game will look a lot better. They can present matchup problems with their unique offense. It'll be look like the offense that everyone has been expecting to see all year. The defense also will be healthier. The defensive line is still a problem, but Roquan Smith should be back. Marlon Humphrey should be back. He was out today at practice, but he was just sick. He'll be fine. You got Awuzie back. Hamilton's back. One of the best secondaries in the NFL. Adding Gilman allows them to go to their three safety looks. He's kind of solidified some things, steady the ship on the back end. And they're going up against the Bears team that has won four straight. But this is a team that has lived off of luck over the past 4 weeks, and their four-game winning streak has come over the Commanders, Raiders, Saints, and Cowboys, who and all of those teams had injuries. I mean, by the way, this is a team that went to the Raiders. Have you seen the Raiders play and got outgained by almost 3 yards per play and were a negative 13% net success rate? Over that stretch, during a four-game winning streak against four teams, none of them are over 500. They went 3-4 on fourth downs. Their opponents 3 for 8. They had a plus 13 turnover margin. They've gone plus 3, plus 4, plus 3, plus 3 in turnovers. If you take away, I mean, the Bears are third in EPA per play over that stretch during a fourth game winning streak on defense. Third in EPA per play. But they're 24th in success rate. If you take away turnovers, they're 29th in EPA per play and 29th in success rate. Basically been a bottom five defense on a down-to-down basis. And now I have another injury at corner to Stevenson. But this, on a down-to-down basis, is a bad run defense. This is a bad pass defense. Lamar and this offense should just shred them at will. Now, if Lamar can't go, if it is Cooper Rush again, this bet isn't dead. Now, it'll be a horrible number because this will go to like a pick. But I'm telling you, this bet isn't dead, and I will bet the Ravens again at the adjusted line. Because again, this Bears defense is very fraudulent, very vulnerable. And Cooper Rush is not great, but he was thrown into the fire. They've had a bye week. They've gotten healthier. He went up against his two starts came against the Texans and the Rams. By the way, those two defenses are number 1 and 2 in EPA per play if you remove turnovers. The Bears are 31st on the season. This is a much easier task than going up against the Rams or Texans fronts, who are going to get elite pressure and can cause all types of trouble for a quarterback. But the whole operation should look a lot smoother. They should be able to run the ball in Chicago. Chicago's not a team that's going to get elite pressure. And then on the other side, I mean, look, this is still Ben Johnson has his team improving, but Caleb Williams still has the second highest missed throw percentage in the league. And it's still not a very efficient offense. They've been running the ball better of late, but on a down-to-down basis, they still have a long way to go. The Ravens also, they might be making some changes along the offensive line. We'll see. Harbaugh, usually money out of the bye. And for what it's worth, teams with a winning percentage of 20% or less as 3+ point favorites against winning teams over the past 25 years, 30, 14, and 2 against the spread, 68%. Everything is pointing, the Lamar versus NFC numbers if you want to go there, but everything is pointing towards a Raven smash spot. There's been times in the past when Lamar was banged up and he didn't practice until Friday, and then he played. So,
yeah, I'm sure they don't. I'm sure they don't feel like Lamar needs a ton of practice at this point. But they are 1-5, so what do I know? but yeah, I mean, I would. The line says he's going to play. I mean, 6.5 is pretty. I think that line would be what if down to like like 1.5. Maybe they probably still give to the Ravens a
Ravens -1 maybe.
Yeah, 1.5 home field, but yeah, it's.
I think if he's 100% in, this is going to 7.5.
Yeah, they probably have it at true questionable right now, like 75%, something like that.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, yep.
Um, so yeah, it was at one of the short at some books it went down to 5.5. It got announced that he was not going to practice today, and it went down to 5.5, and
I saw that. Yep.
then he was out there and it snapped back to 6.5. So really fascinating, but that's why it's my third pick because there definitely is uncertainty. So we could end up with a bad number, but I'm just telling you, if we do, or if Lamar is out, I will be playing the Ravens at -1, -1.5, and this isn't dead at -6.5. So if you want to wait, there's a chance you might have to lay 7 or 7.5. Then seven's obviously a huge number, so maybe you take a little bit now and then wait. And then I'm telling you, if the Ravens fall to 1.5 pick, I will be betting them as well, whether it's Rush or Huntley. I think the Bears are primed to get picked off here. This is an all-in smash spot for the Ravens. Defense will be healthier. The Bears defense is smoke and mirrors. A lot. It's a lot like the Jaguars defense. It was so reliant on turnovers, and then we saw them just roasted a couple weeks in a row. That's what's coming for this Bears defense. So yeah, I give me the Ravens here. Where you going?
For my third pick in the sixth overall of the week 8 6 pack, I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers +3 at home against the Green Bay Packers. See if this gets to 3.5. I saw juiced up 3.5 out there. Money's coming in on the Packers. It was on the Steelers earlier, so we'll see how that goes. I'll have a write up on this, but this is simply for me a Tomlin spot. You have the Steelers coming off a loss, a long week to prepare. Aaron Rodgers playing against his former team, and home dog Tomlin, who is just ridiculous, as he is a dog off a loss. So Tomlin is a dog off a loss, 65%, 24-13 against the spread. As a home dog, 21-7 375% against the spread. And the money line numbers are just as ridiculous. Like he's winning more than he loses outright in these kind of spots. Just as a dog, period, since 2007, the Steelers are 64-34-3 under Tomlin. 1-0 this season. They haven't really been a dog in this spot much this year. And the Steelers aren't great. Like they've been lucky in a lot of spots. They shouldn't be as good as they are record wise. I mean, they probably should have won that game against the Bengals, so that evens out a little bit. But the Packers also have not been quite as impressive as I thought they were going to be when they knocked off Detroit in week 1. They've kind of gotten just progressively less impressive throughout the year. And their last 4 games, I mean, you had the just complete no-show for the second half on offense against the Browns, and you end up losing that game somehow. Then the Cowboys and their horrible defense, the best you can do is you give up 40 and get out of there with a tie. You come out of the bye and you beat the Bengals, let the Bengals cover the 14 or whatever it was. And then the Cardinals, you need 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter against the Cardinals. I know the team flight got delayed, but now this is second straight road game, and the Packers are on the Steelers are on long rest. The Steelers' main issue, and I don't know, do you have any thoughts on why the defense has been this bad with the explosives? Because I know it's, there's some new pieces in that secondary with Ramsey and Slay, and but the talent is there. So it's kind of weird that they're just getting this torched, with these explosives, because that's really kind of out skewing their numbers. If you look at success rate, them and the Packers, they're actually a little bit better than the Packers on early down success rate on defense. So this Steelers team, they have all the makings. And
That is troubling though against the Packers.
yeah,
The Packers are
yeah,
explosive merchants. They take away explosives and they get a ton.
exactly. So that's why they're favored on the road. But Tomlin spot, Packers really kind of squeezing out these games. They haven't covered, I think, in 4 weeks themselves. So this to me is just a spot I want to take all the time. I just think that the Steelers are a little better than we expected this year. I'll give them that. And I think they're, coming out of the bye, I like some of the things they're doing, get Jaylen Warren going on the ground, limit Gainwell and what he's doing, get Johnson out of there, get the tight ends more involved. Now you got, looks like Austin practiced today. So that'll be big because the Packers, ton of zone. That's their identity. Aaron Rodgers this year has been one of the best quarterbacks in the league against zone coverage. He is at 8 yards per drop back against zone coverage, 4.4 against man. And the Packers are one of those teams, they really haven't played much man all year. They're right up there with, like the Cowboys and those kind of teams. Like it's not, you haven't seen too much of it from them. So, I don't know if they really switch it up. It's not like something they've done to this point. So they've played 27.8% man coverage on defense. That's the fourth fewest. So that's just one of those things where it's kind of the scheme. So I expect Rodgers to have success here. I expect the Steelers to come out hungry, and I still think they're playing below their talent level on defense. So they're at home. The Packers haven't been as good on the road either. They've been that 10 points against the Browns, the tie against the Cowboys, and then that they needed to come back late against the Cardinals. All those are the 3 road games. Those are really where they didn't perform up to expectation the most. Now you're going to Pittsburgh in kind of a classic home dog Tomlin spot, long rest. Give me Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'll have more on this game later. But yeah, classic rah-rah Tomlin spot. Rodgers can get rid of the ball quick, which can kind of neutralize some of the pressure that Green Bay can get, which I think is important. But I'll have more on this game later.
All right, that was our NFL Week 8 Sunday 6-pack. Let's see. We have quarterback-wise. We have Stroud.
I don't know who I have.
Well, yeah, right?
I have Stroud with maybe Nico. Probably not. I have hopefully Tyrod, but maybe Fields, and then hopefully Lamar, but maybe Rush or Huntley.
I got Rodgers, Dak, and Spencer Rattler. If I didn't have Spencer Rattler, I would probably have to be in podcast jail because his quarterbacks are way too good. But I mean, shouts to Dak. I'm happy for him having a career year. But that's going to do it for our NFL Week 8 Sunday 6-pack. If you'd like to tail some of these picks, just look for the quick slip link in the podcast and video description. Make sure to sign up for Action Pro for instant notifications when all of our bets are tracked.